All right, so I've got this runner file that I create a new game instance. I'm printing all the weapons. I'm printing all the players. But let's actually consolidate this a little bit. How about every time I create a new game, I just immediately grab all the weapons and all the players and store it in an instance of a game. So I'm just going to do self all players equals, this is where this class method player dot get all players. Same with all weapons. And it'd be weapon get all weapons, like so. So now, instead of printing all the stuff, all the players, because yeah, it's nice to have, but it's not necessary. I can just delete that, and now I can just print a new game, all players and all weapons, just to see if they're still there. So if I clear, and if it's okay if it's not like printing out correctly, if it's just literally a list of stuff, that's fine. Cool. So it actually is printing out. So I've got a list of players here and a list of weapons here as well. The format's not necessary. And the reason why the weapons are printing out nice is because I'm using that repr right here. I can do the same thing, but using the str like that. And instead of just this might be a little bit easier. So weapon axe, weapon hammer. So yeah. All right. So I've got all the weapons, all the players stored in my game instance. So let's actually go ahead and for a player, let's see if we can just like instead of having an axe and energy sword, maybe I don't want the energy sword anymore. And I want to give it back, remove it from this file. But if I remove it from that file, that means there's another energy sword available. Because if I put it back in like the weapons pot for any player to utilize, so I'm like setting the weapon, I'm giving it back. Therefore, I should increase the overall quantity remaining of the weapon of the energy sword. So does that make sense? So if I want to get rid of a energy sword, some other player can pick it up. Does that make sense? All right. So if that's the case, so I can say like, all right, so I've got get all players. This is where I'm parsing string of weapons from CSV and creating weapon instance from parsed weapon array. Let's say Tom wants to remove the energy sword from his backpack or his from his inventory that he has. So where should I run that? So I've got print all players. I've got in the game. So yeah, where should I do that? Should I do it in the player? So like remove weapons from here. What's the first thing I need to do? If in the game, I have a list of player instances and a list of weapon instances. And I want to remove Tom's energy sword from his list of weapon instances. What's this first thing I need to get?
Say probably taking it out of the self.weapons or adding it back to the self.weapons.
So taking out or adding it back to the self.weapons inside of the player instance? Or inside of this all weapons instance? Well, here's my question. How do I know? How do I get to Tom's player instance inside of the all players? What's one thing I need to grab from the user?
His name.
His name. So I need to see, type in somewhere, what player do I want to grab? You can like, again, this could be a design decision. You can log in as a player. So like type player login, you can log in as Tom, and now Tom is an instance somewhere. So I can literally, I can also have like a like logged in player here, self dot logged in player, something like that if I wanted to. But so I can grab a player instance by their name. And where should I do that? Should I do it inside the game, like get player or something? And if I get the player instance, that means I also will have all their weapons as well, right here. Should I do it in the game class? Like def get player? Does that make sense? Should I do it here or should I do it in the player class? Does it matter right now?
I think
I
you
just feel like
probably
it-
do it right here.
Okay. Do it right here. I heard somebody else say something. Guillermo?
I feel like if a player is dropping a weapon, he's dropping it, and then the game can update to, you know, have one extra axe or energy sword or wherever it is. But if the player is doing the dropping or the picking up, it should be in his class. No?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can do that. So I can get the player. So maybe I can get the player inside the game class and I can actually remove the weapon from the player class.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, okay. So inside the game class, let's just go ahead, get player. So how do I get the player? So I've got all players here, so I can loop through and find the player name by just iterating through the all players, find that player, and maybe returning that player. And then, so I'll have a player instance, and then I can remove, I can call a method on here called like remove weapon or something like that. I'm just like spitballing off the top of my head right now. So I can say like player instance or selected player is, I guess, none right now. And I can say like for player and self dot all players, if player name equals player dot name, is that right? Player dot name, let's just make sure that that is in fact name. All right, if it equals it, then I can do selected player equals player, which is a player instance. And then I can just return a selected player. All right, let's just, we can run that and see if that works. So inside the runner file, I don't necessarily need get all players, get all weapons anymore, but I'm just gonna go ahead and print new game, get player. I'm gonna pass in Tom in there. And that should return just a single player instance, Tom. Cool. So I got a player instance. I can make this an instance variable maybe if I want to. Maybe I want to do that. Is there any benefit to making selected player an instance variable now? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And then maybe I can just, again, like how I had that logged in. It's initialized as none because there isn't a selected player. Yeah, might as well, because I'm going to need this selected player somewhere else. So get player. And maybe def remove weapon. Weapon name. And then in here, kind of like how I was doing up here and print all players, I can go inside of here. I can also I feel like I'm just being redundant in here. Remove weapon again. Let's see. So ideally, yeah, let's see. Def remove. Yeah, I'm just gonna remove weapon self weapon, and then just return self dot selected player dot remove selected weapon. Let's see, hold on, I'm trying to think. Maybe I can do like self dot selected weapon, and again, pretty much do the same thing over here. And I'm just thinking ahead because I can use the dot remove method that should remove a weapon from self dot weapons. I'm getting ahead. Weapons. I'll comment that out now. I think I'm going to do that. Selected weapon for weapon if weapon name equals weapon dot weapon name selected weapon equals weapon. And I don't necessarily know if I need to make this an instance variable. So selected weapon. And so I'm going to pass in that selected weapon instance and to player remove and self dot and then weapon instance. Print. I just want to make sure I'm. So what I'm doing inside the game, I've got this remove weapon. I type in a weapon name like a string is axe, energy, sword. It loops through all the weapon instances. If the weapon name equals the instance weapon name, I assign that selected weapon to that weapon instance, which is here. And I return this self-selected player, which is an instance. And I'm calling this instance method remove selected player or remove selected weapon. Just want to know if that's the same thing. I may have changed that. Remove weapon instance. And I'm passing in a weapon instance in here. All right. So get player. And now I can do new game dot remove weapon. And I'm going to say energy sword. And if I run that, it's going to call. So this gets the player Tom inside of here. It assigns it as an instance variable right here. Select the player's instance variable. Right, then I'm removing that weapon by running energy sword. That's what I'm passing in. It loops through all the weapon instances, finds the energy sword, assigns it to the selected weapon. And now I'm running this remove weapon instance and passing in that selected weapon instance in here. And I'm just going to print that instance. So here's that weapon instance that I've selected to remove. What questions do you have about that?
We're gonna take care of the none, like if in case it doesn't find the weapon and we pass none to it.
I mean, you can. I wasn't really doing any instance, any air handling, but yeah, you could definitely add air handling in there. Or if I call like remove weapon, and there is no selected player, so I can say like if selected or selected player equals none, I can like return no player selected, or I can erase an exception or something like that. Likewise with if there is no weapon in here. But hold on. So yeah, so in here, maybe I don't even have to loop through all the weapons. Maybe I can just loop through the self.players weapon instances, because I have a list of weapons that this user has. So maybe instead of self.all weapons, I can do self.selected player.all weapons. So now I'm not looping through all the weapons. I'm only looping through the weapons that user has. And if it doesn't find it there, I can like raise an error like, hey, the user doesn't have that weapon.
Tom, can I ask a quick question about get player up there, choices you made?
This one?
Yeah, you have player name as a variable to be passed for that method. Why not just get rid of player name and instead use self as your player name?
So right here, say that again.
So instead of having player name up on line 24 as something needed to be passed when you do the method, why not just get rid of player name and use self instead? So like down below where it says player name, you could use self instead.
Like that?
Or, no, just self. So you don't need anything passed in. Get player will just use self as the player you need.
But how do I know what player I'm trying to select? So if I wanted to select Tom or Lily, how can I differentiate between me selecting Lily over Tom?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can't really hear you. You're very muted.
I said, yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. So yeah. So that's why I'm passing in like a player name of like what I'm trying to get.
So do we still need to add the weapon back into the inventory?
Yeah, like we still have to do all of that part. I still have to remove it from like this player the all players instance and update it and all of that. So I'm getting an error down here. Player has no attribute, all weapons. I think it's just weapons actually.
Yeah, I think it's just weapon when you assign it to player.
There we go. So I've got the player. So now I'm just trying to think, all right, maybe I should just do all this on like one line. Go get the selected player. Because here's what I'm trying to do. So I've got all players right here. And then I select a player, I have it here. Then I want to update this instance. This right here. But then I also will need to update this all players with the updated selected players weapon removed. And simultaneously, I need to update this all weapons by adding another item to that energy sword like that. So I need to do all of that. So I'm wondering if I just can loop through, like do all that in here, like grab the selected player, or just like, all right, have a selected player, update that player's weapons, and then remove this player, the old player instance, and update it with the new selected player instance. And then then I'm gonna have to write it to the CSV. So that kind of makes sense of like the thought process of like kind of what I have to do, and like I have to determine what the best, not the best way to do it, just get it to work first. Again, there's probably a more optimal way to do this. Find that player. Yeah, I think I already have a selected player here. I'll update the selected player's weapons. So I'll remove that. So I have it. Here we go. So remove weapon, no player selected, remove weapon instance. Let's just remove that weapon instance, and then I can deal with updating all the weapons, the weapon inventory. So I've got remove weapon instance, and can I just do like self.weapons.remove weapon instance? And print self.weapons. Can I do that? So if I did that, there's my new weapon inventory for self.weapons. So I've got that updated. Just gonna return. All right, so I've got,
In that function, wouldn't you just append to the weapons inventory, all weapons,
so
one of whatever instant you just have?
sorry, say that again.
So if you're removing a weapon, right? You're never going to
Mhm.
remove the weapon. It's going to drop onto the weapons inventory list that you have. So just put it in the same function. Just drop it, the append to the weapons inventory list.
Well, I
right
can't
there.
just append to the weapons inventory list because I need to, because if I print, so let's run this. Get all method. New game dot print all weapons. So if I run that, I would just be appending essentially another one of another energy sword like this. This is exactly what I'd be appending back to here. but I don't want to just append to it. I want to just literally just update this 3 to a 4. Because I remove it and now I need to somehow update the energy sword instance with this, like update the quantity.
Gotcha.
So load all the weapons, filter through, find the energy sword, update the quantity, and then save them back to the CSV file.
Yep. So where can I do that? I can do that here. So I don't necessarily need to return that. I can just run that method. And I can also do like here, I can update the selected weapon. So find that instance and then just update update the all weapons with that new. So I'm just gonna do like def add. Should I do add or remove? Like, so this is where it's like, should I create one function to add and remove items from the weapons inventory or just have them separate? I'm gonna have them separate, add weapon back. And yeah, should this be and like, should this be inside the game or should it be inside the individual weapon? Should it be a class method? But right here, I'm just gonna do it here. So for weapon and self.all weapons, if is it, will weapon instance equal weapon? Will that work or should I do weapon instance name equals weapon name? Is this where that, just to make sure?
I think it has to be named, doesn't it? Because the other one's like an object. And it's going to compare the object location versus some arbitrary like weapon.
Yeah, and this is just to be on the safe side. Let's just do weapon instance name. And if we want, we can go back to see it. So if weapon instance name equals weapon name, I can do weapon dot, what was it, quantity plus equals 1 and return weapon. Will that work? And now in here, I can just do self dot add weapon back and add that weapon instance or selected weapon. There probably should be some error handling in here just in case the user doesn't have the weapon. But just run that. Oh, weapon has no, yeah, weapon name. What do we got here? Uh-oh, string not int. So weapon remaining.
Weapon quantity remaining is a string, isn't it?
Yep. So I'm wondering where I should like update that at. So when I quards, I can always just do like
Quick fix is just convert it right before you add it. Just do a add in line, maybe weapon integer or something like that.
Yeah,
Add that
that's-
in terms of, that'd be the quick method.
yeah, I'm just trying to think.
I would do it when you pull it off the CSV, just when
Right.
it pulls off, just when you drop it into the array, drop it as an integer, not as a string.
So that's what would be happening here. I'm creating a weapon instance.
You do it in the weapon instance initiation.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a proper method, but
Is that how you do it? Just int like so?
Yes.
All right, let's see if that works. Quick fix. I don't know. All right. What do we got here? Looks like Tom still has his energy sword. Oh, what the hell am I doing? All right. So why does Tom still have his energy sword? Where am I printing that?
Right there on like line 3 in game. In the runner, you print out Tom and then you remove his weapon and you don't print him out again.
Oh. So nothing's happening. That's always good. Let's just see. All right, cool. Tom only has axe. And new game dot print all weapons. Let's see if this works. Energy sword is not updating. So, right. So what's happening? So add weapon back for all weapons.
You're adding it to the wrong instance there because you got weapon dot. Never mind. That should be right.
Oh, hold on a second. It's because take a look at this. I'm running print all weapons. What's happening? I come on here, print all weapons. Get all weapons, comes over here, gets all the weapons. So it's reading from the CSV file. So if I just do all weapons. Maybe that'll work. All right, just gave me the string. Quick fix that. Oh. Self dot quantity remaining. There we go. See right there, 4. That's how much quantity remaining is gone. Cool. So now, so I'm still not done yet. This is starting to get a little dirty. So, where am I at? So game, I get the player, I remove the player from the selected player, but now I have to update the selected player within the all players instance. I can do it, remove weapon. Def, update player, update all players. Self. I don't need it because I'm using the selected player, so I can do for player and all self dot all players. Let's see if I'm going to do it. If player name, is it player dot name equals selected player be self dot selected player dot name. I'm just going to reassign that player equals self dot selected player and return self dot all players. That should work. So what I'm doing is looping through all the players, finding the player that I updated with the selected player, So seeing where that matches, and then I'm literally just replacing that old player with the new self-selected player. And then I'm just returning all players. Now, and I should be able to see that by just do new game. Oh, but I actually have to call that somewhere. Remove weapon, self dot update all players. I probably should pass in the selected player in here, but I don't need to. I'm just gonna return none for the hell of it. So weapon X. 5. Update all players. All weapons. I don't know what that's actually printing out. All right, just print off player objects. This might be ugly and long. So say you have Tom there, and he only has an axe there. Questions about that? It's kind of messy.
Hey, Tom, this is just a random question. Will you be able to post this code after we finish through with it by chance?
I'll post the video.
The video, okay, thanks.
Yep. All right, so now what that means is inside the game, all players and all weapons have been updated and are in line with one another. So now I can just rewrite all that to a CSV. So where should I do that? Like, right? Should I make it a class method, or no? I'll just do it in game. Ideally, I'm pretty sure, right? Players to, or I should say save players, self. Now this is where I'd be able to save all the players. Let's go ahead and whoop. Save players. Where is the other stuff? I'm going to import this into the game class. The hell is that imports OS name? So I need the players, player path, weapon path. All right. So I've got two paths, one to the players and one to the weapon CSV. So I can, with open player path, I'm going to write to it as CSV file. Let's do, should I do the dict reader or dict writer? Equals CSV dot dict writer. What do I need here? Is this where I need the
Like the headers field,
the headers field?
field names, I think.
The field names equals, and this is players. All right. But this might be a little. Does anybody remember what the dict reader takes in? Is it CSV file field names equals field names?
Yeah.
All right. So now I've got all the players. Now I have to loop through all the players, but I also have to grab and format the weapons into a string. So maybe I can create a method that does that somewhere and just returns a string like so. Let's see. Player CSV, and I can do like for do I need to do right row? I'm gonna bring it. I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's right header or like right header and then right row afterwards.
So player CSV dot right
Header.
like so.
Yeah. And then we do a for loop to right row.
Self dot all players. Then it'd be a player CSV dot right row. And what do I pass in there?
I think it's player.
Player like so.
I think so.
But is that going to work? Let's see. Because a player object has an array.
You could do player.name, comma, player.health, comma, and then you could build a smart string with player dot weapon name off of the weapons objects, I think.
Okay, so I just want to, I'm just gonna, so something like this, like you might have to actually manually player.health. And then weapons. I'm just gonna just do test for right now. So something like that. I'm just trying to see if this actually works. Because if this works, then I can just go back and write a function that parses through all the weapons. Update all players. If I run that, let's see what errors I get. Okay, cool. So that worked. Was that everyone? Cool. All right, so that sort of worked, but now in here, I need to grab, like, make an F string.
You could just do it in the line if you wanted, right? And make an F string inside of there.
But I'm gonna have to loop through.
Multiple weapon objects.
If you did join
Bracket,
or something.
you use bracket notation though, right?
Yeah, so what I do.
You do a string that join and then
I don't know, like, say this is something I'd have to research. So player that weapons, which is an array of instances.
Why can't we just
Yeah.
bracket 0 and bracket 1?
Because what if they don't have any weapons, or if they only have one weapon? So this is where we can't hard code that.
what if you did a join?
I don't know. So that would
Just-
join.
So no.
Goes
It'd
at
be
the
before.
beginning in Python.
It'll be a open string, a string with one space dot join, and then you can wrap you should be able to wrap the list in that. That's
So,
a list, right?
All right, tell me what to write. Let's see.
So you could dump the F string, like you can dump those curly braces. No, you don't need the curly braces.
Hold on,
It should
something
just
else.
be oh no, you're right. You did. Okay, yeah, that's it. So just an empty string with one space, dot join.
So do I need that empty space?
No,
So-
no, just empty string, one space. Dot join. No, but behind the empty string. And then
Join,
you should pass in an iterable, so you could pass in a list. So it's a function and then just throw it's a list of weapons, right?
So-
So,
player, oh,
and then if you have to iterate over it, oh yeah, you do have to iterate over it, right? Because it's a list of weapons. Oh yeah, no, it's player that weapons, right?
yep,
Yeah, so that's a list, then it'll iterate over it, and then it should take care of that.
let's see. I just
Dot,
wanna-
dot name on the end, right? Because you
But-
want to go inside of the weapon object only pull the name off.
But weapons,
Okay, then you would need to do a list comprehension in there. Just do a
Right.
list comp, pop out the names, and then that'll work.
so do you know the lift comprehension off the top?
Yeah, just four four names in weapons. In weapons dot whatever it is, weapons dot what was it? Weapons dot,
It'd be player dot weapons.
and then what is it? Weapon. Oh yeah, and then the front names. Have that, okay, the for loop have it weapons, and then I guess you're gonna call weapons that name at the front.
Oh yeah, why am I doing weapons dot weapon? Wait a second,
No, it would just be weapon name,
yeah,
weapon dot name.
is that what it is? Or
Yeah, and then, oh,
it'd be weapon name. So for
there we go, yeah,
player dot weapon,
and you know S, and then I think that'll work.
yeah, let's try it out. Oh, what just happened? All right, so we have. I'm gonna redo that. So we got it removed, but we don't want the empty string. We just want that dash there. So clear. Oh, what the hell just happened? Oh, what happened?
Wait, because why didn't you want it to be, aren't they separated by empty spaces in the thing?
No, they're separated by
Because I
dashes.
thought it was separated by dashes to keep it the same word. So we don't parse. So I thought each weapon is separated by an empty string, like energy axe is one word, then you have the empty space and then sword, so that'd be separated by empty strings. One space, right?
No, so we have axe, and that's axe is separated by a dash with the empty. So let's just hold on. What is going on? Oh, shoot. Is it weapons? So yeah, because fire, hammer, fire, spell, we need that.
No, but you see, it took away the energy from the axe.
I know,
That's-
but when we add it back, when we write Lily, we have hammer, fire, spell, and there's no way to
Okay.
differentiate. Yeah.
All right.
Does
But-
join have like a delimiter argument you can add?
Oh, that just do it?
Yeah, that worked. Energy sword just disappeared.
Yeah. I was wondering why it wasn't working. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That works. Cool. So there we go. So we have players are updated. Now, all we'd have to do is pretty much the same thing, but with, instead of save players, we can do save weapons, which should be easier. because we don't have to do any weapon path, right? Field names for weapons, weapon name, damage, quantity remaining. Field names, right row for weapon CSV. Weapon. So for CSV writer, instead of weapon name, I think in here, it might just be able to, you do weapon. So if I wanted to save weapons, update all players. Did I do an update? Doing a lot of functions within functions, probably not the best way to do it. Oh no. Oh crap. There we go. All right, what did it say? Weapon. I guess I could just do the same thing here. Weapon name. Weapon name. Damage. Weapon.damage. Quantity. Oh.
So why do you have to do that? I'm confused as to why it didn't work.
Weapon object has no attribute keys. Weapon object has no attribute keys.
Did we use Dick Writer for weapon? I think we did, didn't we? When we wrote all
Yeah.
weapon.
I just want to see if this works first. So, oh crap. All right, everything still worked. Axe was removed. I'm sorry, energy spell, energy sword was removed. It was added back to here as well. Yeah, let's look at. I'm actually going to stop the recording here